We bring you this conversation now. So artificial intelligence is transforming the world, revolutionizing industry and everyday life in ways once only imagined in science fiction. But as the technology progresses at a blistering pace, questions are now being raised about the potential opportunities or dangers to individuals or nations. One concern surrounds Africa's rate of development in the sector and the pitfalls risked by dependency on foreign tech giants. CEO at Clarence AI is Liat Madinane and joins us now for more on the program. It's great to have you this hour. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, it's interesting to see how many African governments are now starting to integrate AI in the way that they do their work. But why is it so important to have all of this being developed by African innovators instead of us relying on Europe, for instance, and America?
It's crucial because we as Africans need to build for ourselves. We understand our context and we really have our best interests at heart. Building locally also really transforms. We don't end up just adopting and using. We have the context and we prioritize ourselves and those around us. And I think that's very crucial to advance us and take us forward.
And exactly what you say now, AI systems usually are only as good as the data that they are trained on. Just fine-tuning them and ensuring that they speak to our cultural preferences, they speak to what we want them to be. What does it take to get to all of that?
I really think it takes understanding the problem. Africa is making a lot of progress, but we still are at the back foot. Our problems and our challenges are very deep. So we understand our problems more and we are able to actually use AI in prioritizing our problems as Africans. But more than anything, to your point, our language, the nuance, the culture that is within us, that is ingrained in who we are. That cannot really be taught. So if we really are building locally, we are able to integrate that into these models and make sure that they understand our languages, our diversity, and how different we are as well as Africans.
Yeah, and let's talk about the work that you then do at Clarence AI to ensure that all of this, comes to life, because there's that element of those nuances that you talk about right now, because an African experience is a unique experience, and that must also be reflected in all of these systems. Let's talk about how you usually do that.
Lovely. So Clarence AI is primarily a social listening and a media monitoring tool. We are able to monitor millions of conversations happening across the digital economy, and then we are able to translate this into intelligence for our clients so that they can understand emerging risks, they can understand the concerns of the consumers and their clients, and then they are able to respond accurately as well. We work with government institutions, we work with state-owned enterprises, as well as different clients, both in the private and the public sector. So we are understanding that data is now all around us. People are having conversations all the time, but what does that actually mean for brands, and how can they take this information and use it effectively to serve the communities that they serve?
Yeah, and it's great that you also make mention of risks, because that is something we must also touch on, because at a time where we are seeing governments also using, AI for things such as healthcare, for education, for policing and service delivery, which is a critical aspect for any government as well. Just how do we ensure that we filter everything and make it free from bias? Because AI has been criticized heavily for that, for sometimes not really being fully reliable as well. Let's talk about that.
I'm really proud of South Africa. We are actually making progress. I mean, we all witnessed the AI policy that is currently in motion. Yes, there were a couple of setbacks, but if you look at what the government is doing by actually taking a step forward and developing policy, showing that privacy is crucial, but we also saw with that human oversight will never not be part of that conversation. So what I love about this and what we are doing at Clarence AI is we're building in Africa for Africa. And with government now making progress with policy, we actually want the policy to also support innovation, because risk is one thing, and it's crucial that we have policy so that there's transparency, data safety, and cybersecurity. But also policy needs to embrace innovation. We need more Africans building AI companies, and policy is supposed to help really empower that and encourage investors to invest in African technology as well.
And here's the thing, building some of those AI structures that are fit for purpose for the African continent in particular is something that sounds like is going to be resource intense. How would we be building up on that to ensure that we get to a point where, you know, we're having conversations where in Africa has obstacles but is able to also overcome those obstacles, particularly when we look at the advent of technology and how it is constantly developing, and just what role should the governments also be playing in the greater scheme of things?
Collaboration is going to be everything, Polisi. I think we recently just got back from Namibia, where we had a couple of engagements, including with the Office of the President. We also engaged some private and public companies in Namibia. We're seeing that we're going to have to collaborate as Africa for this to work. We have to all come together and actually really be united in this journey, because we, in not just being adopters, but being creators, we will only do this if we work together as a collective. Seeing the president as well in Namibia most recently, we're seeing that this collaboration is going to be quite crucial in order for us to be leaders in this journey as well, and not just adopters, but real creators and contributors.
And still on that, do you get a sense that we are fully embracing the advent of AI? Because I know many also approached it with a certain level of skepticism, particularly when we look at job security, when some people were like, no, this is something that's going to come here and take our jobs. Meanwhile, this could be something that could be complementing those jobs at the same time. Just where are we now? Which footing are we, and what are your stats telling you insofar as that is concerned?
You know, every revolution really came with a lot of challenges. When electricity first came up, no one was talking about whether people would use electricity or not, whether industries would adopt electricity or not. It was just a question of how and when. AI is one of those revolutions. We are in a revolution with artificial intelligence. Similar thing with the internet. AI is now here, and it is here to stay. It's just a matter of how and when we adopt it. And I think for me, us at Clarence AI are taking that stand. We are saying we are building an artificial intelligence platform and a tool that is able to speak to African businesses and solve African challenges. We need more Clarence AIs. We need more innovators that are going to be building these businesses. And we need our government, you know, in developing policy, also making sure that there's funding and opportunity, you know, and investment in these innovations as well. And that's the only way we're going to progress and move forward. Right.
Liat Madinane, CEO at Clarence AI, I must thank you so much indeed for your time and this conversation on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.